Welcome back to Innate State. Russell, always good to see you.
Thank you.
Today we've got an interesting guest. Her name is Betty, and we're going to have a nice discussion later with her. But first we're going to get into our meditation. And Betty is just a silent meditation. I'll take us into it. This is more just a breathing and relaxing, just to center ourselves.
Cool.
Is it okay?
Sure. Let's
Okay.
do it.
Right. Okay. So just take a couple of deep breaths and just breathe out, allow yourself to relax. On each out breath, just allow your body to relax a little bit more. Just continue with that. you can slowly bring yourself out of the meditation. Betty,
Good.
welcome. Cheers.
Cheers, cheers.
Cheers.
Nice to be here.
Ching ching. I must say, I did enjoy that. Relaxing. How's that for you?
Always enjoy a good meditation.
Is it something you do regularly?
I do, but I prefer doing like guided meditations. Otherwise, I get distracted quite easily. But what I really enjoy is breathwork. That's like my go-to thing.
Would you sit and do that by yourself, like,
Yeah.
like you've done it
Yeah.
before, and you know
Yeah.
the techniques?
Yeah.
And what is
So-
it? What is it? How does it
So
work for you?
I normally stick to more simple breathwork.
Yeah.
Like, for example, what they would call the box breathing. So it's like 4 breaths in, 4 out, 4 in, 4 out. So
And just kind of
hold and then out.
I
and
do a
then
hold between each one. Okay.
So that's how I normally do it. I do
Yeah.
the 4 in, and then you hold for 4, 4 out, and then you hold for 4.
So you in for 4, and then you hold for like 4 seconds,
Yeah,
kind
for
of thing,
4
and then
seconds.
out
So-
4 seconds.
So normally with me, I actually can't hold my breath that well.
Yeah.
So I do what's comfortable for me.
Yeah.
So I think with anything, and particularly like breath work, it shouldn't be a stressful thing. It shouldn't be a forced holding of breath.
It should be natural,
You-
a natural.
You should sort of find your own natural
Yeah.
rhythm. So that's why that I do more on my own, the breath work, because everybody has their own natural rhythm, and you need to find that.
And do
work
you?
with
How long
that.
do you do it for?
The nice thing with breath work, you know, for it to be effective, 5-10 minutes in the morning, and then before you go to bed.
It is effective. Remember, we
it's
did it with my
actually-
brother a bit as well. He enjoyed the breath work,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's definitely something in the breath
When you
work.
really, and I find if I'm in like very stress situations,
Yeah.
then, once you build up a practice, you find that when you are in sort of stressful situations, you automatically go back to the breath. And even in my mind, I go,
So
go
you
back to
pull
the
yourself
breath.
back to the
Yeah.
breath,
You
even
just
in a
pull your-
stressful situation.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing, because that's busy centering you.
Yeah, definitely
Through
for
the breath.
grounding. For
So
grounding.
maybe in the sense that I haven't done a lot of breath work. I have done before,
Yeah.
but it's not something I practice. But I think it's bringing you back to that awareness of
Yeah.
your breath.
Yeah.
And when by coming back to your breath, you can basically deal with whatever's going on in a little bit more of a
Yeah.
aware, kind of a conscious fashion.
Yeah, definitely. So I actually got more awareness of breath work when I started doing psychedelic work. So, prior to doing my first mushroom journey,
Yeah.
I actually, the person that I did the journey with, he had given me a whole lot of sort of instructions and practices to
Prior
follow.
to it,
In preparation,
Yes.
for the journey.
Yeah.
And one of it was breath work.
Okay.
And the only person I knew at the time that was really promoting breath work was Wim Hof.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
you
he
know,
was
and
like he's like the godfather.
yeah, he's like the super
Yeah.
breath work guy.
Yeah.
But so I started working like with his
His techniques. Yeah.
but he's quite intense. So like you would hold your breath for a very, very long time. And then, I actually moved from that, and I said, no, like I'm not going to create discomfort or distress in my breath work. So I'm going to find my own rhythm, my own way of working. And
Which is fine.
Yeah, which is fine.
Because
And
not
I
everyone's
do
the same.
believe
Whatever works for him doesn't mean it
Yeah,
works for everybody.
yeah. I mean, he's an extreme sports person.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
he's the Iceman. I mean,
Yeah, no, for sure, he's doing
runs
extreme
up
stuff.
The Everest
Yeah,
barefoot
in his
and
underpants.
goes across the
Hey?
He's famous for giving himself that enema on the fountain.
Yeah.
and the
Geez, that sounds dangerous, man.
and the bath plunge. I mean, the ice plunges and whatever.
Yes,
That's not my scene.
No.
I want comfort. I want to be comfortable.
So basically,
whatever
what's
I
it doing
do.
for you? It's creating more of a sense of groundedness,
Yeah.
and reducing thinking,
Yeah. No, definitely, and
Slows
definitely
down
in
the
terms of like
mental
my-
activity a bit.
Yeah, and I think I'm very grateful for having started with the breath work because, definitely in terms of my psychedelic work that I've done, I have extreme experiences. So it's always really good to like ground myself in the breath and go back to breathing and pulling yourself back
before
into the here
we
and
get
now.
into those experiences, Betty, were you like in your upbringing, were you a churchgoer or that kind of were you religious?
So I was brought up very staunch Catholic.
Okay.
Yeah. My parents were very Catholic.
Yeah.
So we did the whole Catholic thing.
Yeah.
I'm not a practicing Catholic today.
But you grew up in that environment.
Very much in that environment.
Yeah. No, I'm just curious because a lot of religious people might consider it a bit taboo going into psychedelics.
I think,
we're generalizing here.
Yeah. Look, I think there's changing perceptions, but in many areas, I mean, in any altered state of consciousness is taboo in all dogmatic religions.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's
alcohol or
up,
whatever the case may be.
I mean, even growing up, in a Catholic environment, even meditation was taboo. Like, if you meditated, you were communing with the demons and the devils, and
for
so
sure.
even
Super
that was
strict.
taboo.
Yeah.
So I think that your very dogmatic, religions tend to prefer people not to be in an altered state of consciousness because they might find that there are other ways of thinking and they don't want other.
They don't want
they
them
don't necessarily
to
want
look,
you to think.
to look beyond. Beyond the blinkers. Eh?
So it is a challenge for conservative religion,
And then the rest of your family, have they accepted that you've got involved in some of that kind of stuff?
I think so. I mean, they've accepted it. My children are very open to it. I mean, they also,
They've done it before.
Yeah, I mean, they also, and it's also, created profound shifts in consciousness. So generally people have accepted it, but I think only because I've gone through a process of educating people as well.
It's not just a question of bodying.
My work with psychedelics has been more on a therapeutic level than a recreational. I don't do them recreationally, which is fine. I mean, I don't really mind, but for myself, it's not a good idea. So I tend to do it more therapeutically.
So if you go back, Betty, I don't know when we were the first timers that you that you got involved with them. What got you there?
So I've struggled with depression my whole life. I've had quite a difficult time with depression, and I was actually seeing my psychiatrist one particular day, and I don't, I've always, I haven't always responded very well to antidepressants, and they refer to it as treatment-resistant depression. So after you've tried 2 or 3 antidepressants,
and it doesn't work, then
they refer to it as treatment-resistant depression.
Yeah.
So we reached a point where another antidepressant wasn't working, and he turned to me and he said, "Oh, well, you should just try mushrooms."
And you're like,
and I'm like,
"What do you mean? What does that mean?" Denny. No, not really, not Denny.
And I mean, he's very conservative medical model.
But he had obviously, he knew these things were coming through.
There were obviously a lot of research happening, and a lot of stuff started coming through.
So you were like...
So I thought, okay, that's an interesting option.
Let's look into it.
Last resort.
It's not working.
It was like a last resort.
Yeah.
And I fell down the rabbit hole. Yeah. So that was my interest.
And then you started seeking. So I think you found someone to help you.
That's a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he regrets actually having.
Well, he lost a customer.
Not necessarily.
So the first time you took it, did you notice a difference?
So,
Well, obviously you were in a therapeutic.
yeah. So
Was
I
it a
did
workshop
find,
or what was it?
No, it was a one-on-one.
Okay.
I found it was actually a psychiatrist who gives, who works with.
So it's a
psychedelics.
professional, which
Yeah.
is what you want.
So I needed
Yeah.
somebody, given my history.
Yeah.
It's not like I was just going to go walk down somebody's backyard and
Just have a little.
just take a
munch.
couple of mushrooms and then see what happens.
And everything's
I
fixed,
I
Yeah.
did understand
Not that
that
simple.
given the nature of my mental health and what I'd been through, I needed somebody that had some knowledge about mental health. So so I did it with a psychiatrist. It was a one-on-one session. And it was very traumatic. It was really.
So it brought up a lot of stuff
Yeah.
for you from your childhood, etc., that kind of thing.
Yeah, so it did bring up a lot of trauma memories, a lot of repressed memories that I hadn't been aware of.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, so one of the things, there was a lot of resistance, in terms of the work that we had been doing together prior to doing the mushrooms. So I think he had this really clever idea, which didn't turn out to be very clever afterwards, that he was going to give me 10 grams, like a hero's dose of mushrooms.
It's a double
This is
hero
like
dose.
this is like my first mushroom journey.
10.
He's going to
He's going to
break down all the fences.
He's going to beat it into you.
Yeah, and so it was intense. It was very intense, and
Cheapers.
yeah, and I had a lot of repressed memories, a lot of trauma memories,
And
that
obviously a
came.
lot of crying and shouting and whatever
Yeah.
the case came up.
Although it was a bit strange because I was almost unconscious for most of the journey. I really, really went deep into the conscious.
Yeah.
And I have very little memory other than the last, let's say, 15 minutes when, it was wearing off, and then I sort of became more conscious. And then, a lot of stuff came up. But it wasn't anything coherent. I didn't understand. What was
Kind of
what was coming
what was
up
happening.
and what was happening. It was, I think I was very unprepared for the trauma that came out of it, but I think he was probably even more unprepared. And yeah, so it was a very difficult journey. And then subsequently after that, I think after a mushroom journey, particularly if you're doing it therapeutically, there should always be integration.
Kind of a
process of
post kind of support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people that are doing journeys now or doing guided journeys and that do a very basic type of integration, they'll do 1 or 2 sessions or whatever. But when you have a person that's coming in with a lot of trauma or a lot of mental health issues, 1 or 2 sessions is not enough.
No.
And it should continue for as long as that client or that person
Is needing the assistance.
Needing the integration.
Yeah.
Because the integration can take a long time. I mean, even when I saw this, when I did my journey, I didn't even do integration after that session.
For this first session.
For the first session that I did.
But
And
you
I mean,
needed it. You felt
I
you needed
it. I mean, I got to a point where I was suicidal. I mean, I was.
Oh, really? Afterwards?
Yeah, no. I was,
So it wasn't this quick fix, it's fixed my depression and now I'm sorted.
And I think, I mean, I understand I'm probably an extreme case.
Yeah.
But this is also why I have a passion for, speaking to people about challenging psychedelic experiences, because I know I'm not the only one. I know there's a lot of people
100%, there must be loads
that have experienced it.
Yeah.
And it always worries me, that so many people go through these, journeys and sort of get to the other side. And, I was made to feel like I was a problem or there was something wrong with me, or why didn't you get healed. You know, you're supposed to have this miraculous, you know, oneness with the universe feeling and, you know, come to God feeling. And none of that happened to me. And it was like, there's something wrong with you. You know, you can't be healed, or the favorite one is you holding on to your trauma. Or you're holding on to your pain. Yeah.
Whoever these guys
are. So it's like, it's almost like, I won't say victim blaming, but it's that sense of like, you know, because you're not making the progress or you're not moving forward after this wonderful experience, what's supposed to be a wonderful experience, the problem lies with you. But I've come to understand that, yeah, in a sense it did lie with me, but the major problem was there was lack
of support, post-support.
Because I even developed HPPD, which is hallucinogenic persisting perception disorder.
So were you seeing
for weeks I was seeing visuals and I was having
on.
You feel this dissociation, you feel this you're not real or you're not grounded on this earth, and you know, and as much as I was trying to tell this psychiatrist, listen, something's wrong, like something's not right, there's something like no, it's you do another mushroom journey. That's what they love to tell you. Like, you've got to go back in again. You've got to go in again. It's like, what? You know, I've just been there. It wasn't that cool.
Probably the dose was probably just...
Yeah, it was way too high.
Was ridiculous.
Way too high.
Probably half that would have been better.
Yeah. I hope he knows better now. But
still, you would think he would know. He should be a psychologist, a psychiatrist, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
But I don't think people, like, they're still doing research into this, and there's no real proper guidelines. All these trips are kind of done in little back workshops and one-on-ones, etc. Overnight shamans, and like now, who do you trust, etc. So I haven't done it in a therapeutic fashion, in a treatment like that before. But what I am seeing is that what it basically is doing is it's opening people up to a kind of a depth within themselves.
Yeah.
And it's not always a pretty thing because there's so much stuff that comes out. So I think often it can be healing, but like what you're saying is
you need to process it.
Yeah, but the process can take. It doesn't take 3 weeks. The process. No. I've been processing. I process stuff for years, but not in those levels. But like, you know, through workshops, etc., etc. So I think it's a long process. It's not a 3-month process. No. It's something that becomes years even.
And I think that's a lot of what's coming out in the psychedelic arena is this whole concept of like, you know, it's this instant cure or it's this instant...
It doesn't exist. That doesn't exist.
You know, the silver bullet, whatever.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. You know, there are people that are really damaged, that have got real damage. And, you know, they say psychedelics amplifies whatever's there.
Yeah.
So if you have real trauma and you have really difficult life experiences, especially if they're happening already at the time that you're doing your psychedelic journey, it's going to amplify those emotions. And one must be prepared for that. You need to be prepared that this stuff is going to come up. And, you know, prior to, you know, part of your preparation, you know, before you do the journey, part of your preparation is what tools am I going to use or what am I going to do if these situations arise or if this happens or, you know, whatever it is. And I think, you know, for me, it's really been a journey of that as well. Like, you know, with people that have had difficult experiences, you know, being there to support them and saying, okay, you try this or try that, or maybe this works.
But you know, not even if they've had difficult experiences is one thing, but also even people that haven't had difficult experiences, but it's brought stuff up.
Yeah.
Like maybe they're tearing up all the time and they're crying. You know, it's bringing stuff up, and part of it is that you've opened up.
Absolutely.
You've opened things up. You've opened up those traumas. That stuff needs to be released, and you actually need someone who's trained to assist you to work through it.
Yeah.
Even if wasn't a terrible experience, but that doesn't mean it hasn't opened up the emotions, etc., that needs to now come out. And for someone just to handle that on their own is sometimes very difficult. Yeah. They need someone to talk to, like yourself, for instance. I think it's. I think a lot of people. I think maybe the whole thing's become a little bit overly trendy,
and simplified.
and it's not that. It's a therapy. We're talking about people's emotions. We're talking about. It's a lot deeper than just trying mushrooms and lying down on your sponge.
But I think as time goes on, people are becoming more aware of these effects, these amplifying effects of psychedelics. And you even have, at your festivals and your Africa Burns and whatever, I'm not sure if they've had it in South Africa, but internationally, where they have special tents which are specially dedicated to people who are in crisis.
Having a bad time.
Psychedelic crisis.
100%.
And then they've got people that are trained to support them and to help them through that process.
Yeah.
Because even if you're doing it recreationally and you haven't got an awareness of your traumas or things that
it can bring that stuff up.
It will amplify it. It will bring it up.
Yeah.
But we don't talk about bad trips. We talk about challenging experiences. Because no trip is bad. No trip is bad. Because, I think even once you have that challenging experience and you have time to process it, and something good can come out of it. There's always a great awareness. There's always growth.
Once you've worked through it.
Yeah.
But now, for instance, if you go back to when you were feeling suicidal, etc., how did you work through that at the time, Betty?
So I was psychotically suicidal. So I had to be admitted. Yeah. And it was actually an involuntary admission. So I didn't have a capacity to think or to decide or to.
Yeah. So your family put you in.
Yeah. So then they're
like, Mom ain't good.
Yeah. No, it's time for it to go in now.
So then they treat you a bit differently in there. Then they're using chemicals, obviously, to try and balance
which is fine because
the brain.
I really needed it at the
time.
I needed.
No. Sometimes it must be necessary.
And that's the other thing that we need to also recognize is that, yes, we have these alternative medicines, psychedelics, which do great work and have been very helpful to many, many people. But we shouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So what I mean is, like, just because you're going the alternative route doesn't mean that conventional medical model psychiatry or treatment should be
thrown away.
Not be an option. Because when you are a person in distress and you are at the level where I was, suicidal and psychotic, there was no way that any mushroom would ever help me. The only thing that would have helped me at that point was to go into hospital, was to take antipsychotics and, be treated in a medical
How long
facility.
did something like that take to help you?
I think in total with the whole thing, it was about 2 months.
Oh, as long as that, eh?
Yeah,
it takes time.
It took me about 2 months to claw back to sanity.
And have you done it since again, or was that something you wouldn't go back and?
No, I did.
Dabble.
I have done. So I didn't. For about 2 years, I didn't go back to the psychedelics. Although I must be honest, I always did feel like that's where my healing was going to take place. Even though I had this very difficult experience and it didn't turn out quite as I wanted to, it did start to show me where my problems
like there was some lights in the tunnel kind of thing.
So I always did think, I would go back to take, go back to psychedelics.
I think it was part of it was over the top.
It was crazy.
So did you do it again with another therapist of sorts?
So in 2023, my husband died by suicide. So he
Sorry to hear that, Betty.
Thank you. And in that time that he was ill and eventually culminated in that. He also had quite a traumatic childhood and a lot of things that happened to him. And after he passed away, I thought to myself, this is not where I want to be in my life, And I thought I'll use this as a catalyst to go back and address whatever it was that, that has caused my depression or has caused my difficulties in life. And I was ready to take on the challenge. So I found another therapist, though he was using MDMA.
Okay, yeah, I have heard that's a treatment as well.
I've been using, and MDMA is more suited to like post-traumatic stress and that kind of thing. It's actually a really nice, it's not a real psychedelic,
No.
It's like a pseudo-psychedelic,
Yeah.
but it has the same kind of effect. But what's really nice with MDMA is when you're dealing with trauma memories, it creates almost like a buffer between, you're seeing what's happening and you're going back and you're seeing what happened in your past, but yet it's from a distance. So you've got this sort of protection buffer. So it's not so, you're not re-traumatizing yourself when you...
So in what way is it assisting you? You see, it's kind of the trauma, you're seeing them, but you're not processing it, or
you do process it, but you're not re-experiencing it. So a lot of people that struggle with post-traumatic stress or have like flashbacks or panic disorders or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
When you have a flashback or you have a memory, it's almost like you're re-experiencing it. You sort of re-traumatizing yourself each time you
kind of thinking of it.
Yeah.
Etc.
So it's like you're in that moment.
So with the
MDMA, you can talk about it, you can experience it, but it doesn't feel like it's actually happening to you in the now.
So if you, just while we're chatting, so if you went to go see, for instance, this chap who was doing that treatment with you, you would sit in his rooms, he would give you some of it and then go take you back into some of those issues, or how does it work?
The normal protocol for MDMA, and there's an organization, MAPS, multidisciplinary organization for psychedelic whatever society.
Yeah. Kind of a guideline.
So they developed a protocol with MDMA where you take, the standard is 200 milligrams.
Is that a lot?
No, it's
I don't know.
It's like it's okay.
For therapeutic, I suppose it's for therapy.
It's kind of the standard dose.
Okay.
It can be a lot, but
I'm just curious. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's kind of the standard dose. Then you put the earphones on, you put the eye mask on. You go inward, you lie there, you listen to the music.
Are you listening to music?
So the music is normally specially curated for a psychedelic experience. So a lot of the music that they develop for psilocybin mushrooms and for MDMA.
Is it similar stuff?
It's specially curated. So it even works on the brain frequencies, at the different stages that you go through on your psychedelic journey. So the idea is you'll lie there, you'll listen to the music, and you just process everything internally.
Sorry, while interrupting you, but the music will help to bring up certain emotions. So because some music is maybe a little bit sadder, some will remind you of this or remind you of that. Is it that kind of experience?
Yeah. So it's more. The music is more curated to how your brain waves are working at each stage of a journey.
So it's not necessarily popular music that you recognize. So it's more like sound frequencies.
Yeah, or it can be classical music.
Okay.
Whatever different facilitators or guides will use different music, but the music is very important to the experience.
Yeah.
I think you're less able to have that heightened experience without the music.
Yeah, music's important.
So the music is very much
music plays
important.
a big role in that experience.
And then obviously the eye mask allows you to look inward, because if you were to see everything that goes on around you, you'd be distracted from what's happening inwardly.
Your inner world.
Particularly
somatically. So once you've gone through it, do you discuss it with the psychologist or whoever the person may be?
So normally you would experience it on your own. You would you would
He's
process
not talking to you or
everything.
anything.
No,
You're doing your thing.
So a normal journey is you do everything on your own.
Yeah.
He's there.
Yeah.
He's holding space for you. She's holding
As
space
your
for
backup,
you.
yeah.
If you need something, they're there to help you, whatever. Like, for example, I mean, I always puke my lungs out when I have a psychedelic.
Really?
I always have to purge.
Not even just ayahuasca.
So it's always, so it just helps to,
Okay.
it just
Kind of
helps to
makes a
have
release
somebody
for
to
you,
bring you
and
the,
yeah.
you know, bucket.
Bring
the buckets
Yeah,
and
No, but that's
tissue.
my thing with psychedelics. I always
I get
purge.
nauseous, but
Okay.
Yeah, no.
So you say even with the
I mean, not
MDMA,
everybody,
even with the MDMA.
even with the MDMA, not everybody
No,
has that experience.
no. Yes, yeah.
But you know, I just know that's how I always respond to
Okay.
psychedelics. So it's nothing new for me. So basically, you process it all on your own. So I did 5 MDMA sessions. They were about 6 weeks apart. So I
Okay.
do a session, then I do some integration, then I do session and integration. So the first 2 I did that way because it was like I say, I mean,
You mean with the
with the earphones
et
and
cetera. Okay.
the eye mask and all of that. But it was very traumatic. So I had difficulty.
In what way, Betty?
So I think the thing with the MDMA as well, it helps you to experience a lot of things somatically, you know, in your body.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the trauma that we hold.
It's holding up.
I mean,
it's in our
it's like,
tissue, etc. You know, it's in our muscles.
Basil van der Kolk says, you know, the body keeps score. Everything is held in the body, and that's where we hold most of our trauma. So the MDMA helps you to release that. So I was experiencing a lot of somatic trauma. So like stuff just
Crying, shaking,
yeah.
maybe, whatever
Yeah.
the case is.
and
Yeah.
fighting people off and
Screaming and shouting
yeah.
a bit. Yeah.
So I was a bit distressed with that. So on my 3rd journey, I said, look, I'm not going to do the eye mask thing or whatever because this is not working for me. We'll just sit and have a 5-hour therapy session and I'll just talk. So that the other
Were the
journeys
others
that-
also like 5 hours long?
Yeah, so normally a journey is about 4 to 5 hours.
That's pretty long.
Yeah.
And was that better for you? Did
Yeah,
it still bring stuff up?
Yeah, it still brought stuff up.
Yeah.
But I managed it better. I think
Yeah.
it was more manageable.
And why did you do 5? Was it just kind of you chose that, or was it kind of a structure,
I think
program?
it just went as I felt I needed. So we would do like a session and then, like I say, a couple of therapy sessions, integration. And then I would say, okay, I'm ready for, you know, another one. So I did 5, and then on the 6th one, we decided to do mushrooms.
With the same person?
With the same person,
Okay.
yeah.
Why did they choose that? Or obviously they suggested that for you.
So they did suggest it, and I think it was kind of a culmination of the process that we had followed, because I think it was about a year, it was about 10 months that I had been going through this, what they call psychedelic-assisted therapy. So the last journey we decided would be the mushrooms.
Okay, and how did that go?
So that was challenging.
But not as challenging as the first time.
This time it was 4 grams.
Okay, a little bit more.
It was a little bit hero,
realistic.
but not too hero.
Yeah. Semi-hero.
So still a lot of stuff that came out. A lot of,
just trauma stuff.
Yeah, it was just very trauma stuff.
Because that stuff takes years, you know that. It's not like even 5 sessions, not a 5-session fix, you know that.
Well, I think what was quite difficult was things that I was just never aware of. I had obviously dissociated everything.
Yeah, you kind of throw it to the back.
So it was very challenging to be faced with, you know, that level of abuse and trauma. And then the difficulty was, you know, it was so out there. It was so sort of out of my universe. Then trying to integrate that and trying to sort of find a place for it in my life and, how could it happen? When did it happen? Did it? And then the questions like, did it happen? Did I imagine all this? Was this induced by the psychedelics? But
am I flipping dreaming or something?
Then did I dream it? Was it, am I mad? And I mean, you go through all those, those thoughts and those processes. But it takes a while. It's taken me several months now to really try and integrate all that and really come to a point where I, understand where all of that was coming from.
And I'm just talking from my own experience, is when I started processing stuff through workshops and meditation, etc., I must have gone through processing, crying and stuff for 10 years.
Yeah.
It took a long time.
No, I can
until
imagine.
all that stuff was out.
Yeah.
So whenever I'd get like maybe triggered by something, whatever, go and I'd cry the stuff out. But it wasn't like every day, but it would happen maybe in a month, once in a month or here and there. But literally at least 10 years, it was a hell of a process.
Sure.
And so that's why when I look back at these therapies and stuff, it's not a one fixed session.
No.
Even 10 sessions is not enough. But I think what's important, and this is something that people could also be shown, and perhaps these guys, is to teach you how to become aware of when these things come up, when the emotions come up, because part of the healing is the emotions, and you can't every time go and do one of these trips or whatever the case may be. They can come up on their own. You don't need that for it to come up. It's now, because now I'd say you're aware of it, because you've done it a couple of times and you're aware there's still stuff there. The stuff hasn't all miraculously just been shifted. So a certain level of awareness of when you triggered. It's even when you triggered, it's stuff that's coming up. It's traumas. All those like small things. In traffic and you're triggered, or with your kids, you're angry with your kids, whatever. It's bringing stuff up all the time, even in your job. But the more we are aware of it, the more we are able to go and process it. And once we process it, we're letting it go all the time, letting it go. So like you've done quite a few of those sessions and you had a lot of stuff come up. And I mean, I'm not a psychologist, but this is what I've been through. And I would say if like the stuff's going to continue to come up, and every time it comes up, you just got to work through it. It's not a question of going back for more therapy with those like maybe a psychologist, but without the, say, MDMA or whatever the case is. I mean, does it make sense?
No, absolutely. And after my that mushroom journey, I think mushrooms don't like me. I like mushrooms a lot, but I don't think she likes me.
Why?
So it was a very difficult experience as well. One of the things that I learned, and you talk about triggers, is I was trafficked as a child. So you take like now Jocelyn's story.
Listen, you don't just say I was trafficked as a child so flippant lightly. What is that you can tell? What are you saying here?
I was trafficked as a child. I was trafficked in a child sex ring.
Jeepers.
So
no wonder there's so much stuff coming up.
Yeah.
No, I mean it. Jeepers. Sorry to hear that, man, Betty. That's intense.
I think one of the things that it teaches you is it's not an abnormal story. And I think what's really helped me is, a lot of people have been able to, open up about their story to me because of my story.
Of what you've been through.
What I've been through and my story. So, and now, for example, you take the case of Jocelyn, the little girl in Saldanha Bay who was trafficked by her mom and sold to somebody.
I don't know about the story.
Yeah, it's a recent case now. They were actually just now convicted, sentenced to life imprisonment. But, like that kind of story would have triggered me. But now I have a better awareness.
So it's not, you don't feel that trigger because you've worked through a lot of this stuff.
I can manage it. a lot better. I'm not perfect. I'm not there yet. I've
No,
still got a long, long
no
way
one's
to go,
perfect, Betty.
You know?
No one's perfect. And there's no judgment here.
Yeah.
No one's perfect. Everyone's got their stuff to work through. Yeah.
I think in the psychedelic community there is an element of judgment, which
You think so?
Yes, I have experienced.
In terms of humans, there's going to be judgment.
I think in terms of
humans naturally judge each other and themselves constantly.
Yeah, I think in terms of, in terms of this whole thing where you go through these psychedelic experiences and you're now supposed to be miraculously cured, or you're supposed to come to terms with your trauma or your life circumstances.
Maybe it happens with
whatever.
some people. Who knows? But maybe such a small percentage.
Yeah, I think it's a small percentage.
Yeah.
I think that they try to delude us and tell us it's just about everybody and that we're the abnormal ones. But I've come to understand through a lot of my research and, working with other people that have had difficult experiences, that it's a large number of people that experience these things, So, yeah, I mean, somebody like, for example, I don't do, psychedelics recreationally because I know as soon as I touch the stuff, it's going to bring up all my shit.
And you don't want to be partying
so I'm
with
not
your
going to be
shit coming
partying
up.
and all my shit is coming up.
You want to have a good time.
So, yeah. So I leave it to everybody else. But... you can have somebody who's at a party or festival and takes it for the first time. And, psychedelics, they suppress your default mode network, which is what your filter, and suddenly you don't have a filter and all the stuff is coming up. And then this person is a raving lunatic and doing whatever. I mean, how do you help a person like that? What do you do in that situation?
You need a professional.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Betty, how do you assist people? How do they get in touch with you?
So it's not something
people
that
are aware of you. I mean, in the sense of what you're up to.
So most of the work that I've done and the conversations that I've had is very much on an informal basis. So, for example, after having gone through my experiences and sort of thinking to myself, look, first of all, this is really difficult and I can't be the only person that experiences this level of difficulty. So I sort of went on a exploration and specifically looking at challenging psychedelic experiences, and I got in touch with quite a few organizations, in fact all of them international. I don't think there's anything locally based.
Yeah, probably not.
So all the support groups that I joined were Zoom support groups, and then you start sharing stories with other people, and then you meet people, and by meeting them you start supporting them in their process, So I've got people like really literally all over the world, from Sweden to Seattle to Belgium. And,
you're kind of all connected
people,
on Zoom, etc.
Yeah, so we chat on Zoom or we chat on WhatsApp or whatever. It's a small planet we're on now with all this, everyone's so interconnected.
But I do think, I think on some level... the way things are just unfolding is kind of natural, like the psychedelics, for instance, because not everybody can, what should I say, they can't always get to those core issues. That firstly, they don't want to, perhaps, they're not religious, they don't want to go to church or whatever the case may be. And often there, maybe it's not getting, it's also not coming to the surface. Maybe you can't say for everywhere, but some places maybe they do go into the people's traumas and stuff, and it's like the route I went was more with a psychologist and workshops, etc. A lot of Hindu spiritualism through Kundalini and activation and stuff like that, and also I had this. I sat with a psychologist for probably 12 years, and we just worked through stuff every week.
Yeah,
and so that shifted all the stuff, but not everyone has access to that.
Yes.
So, and I think that's the problem with a lot of the spiritual stuff. There isn't that support, not even just in the psychedelic realm, but in the kind of okay, I'm
Yes.
just going to go meditate and now do yoga, everything's lacquer.
Yeah.
It doesn't really, it's not really how it works. But what I do think is that, like even for yourself, you went through the traumatic experiences in your youth, and so much of that stuff must have got lodged in your system. That's why there's a lot of what we might call a pain body, and there's a lot inside there. But like if you never did that, had this experience on your 10 grams or whatever, that stuff would have stayed with you forever.
Absolutely.
And you would never have gotten into a healing process. So it's got its place. But I think the point we're trying to make is that it needs a support structure.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what I say, to anybody that's going into, working with psychedelics, and I'm talking, therapeutically. But I also think even recreationally, because things can come up that you're not expecting. But definitely before you need to do a proper preparation, you must really, not only prepare your mind, but your body as well. And that's where you do things like your breath work, your meditation, any body work, yoga.
Well, maybe that's also just a prep.
Yes.
It's a healthy prep. It's like you're turning inwards a little bit. You become a little bit of...
more self-aware.
A bit of a therapy almost, turning inwards.
Yeah, definitely.
Instead of just hitting it.
And then obviously, your intention setting, like there should always be an intention for why you're doing that, why you're going on that journey, why you choosing
what is it? Is
to
it
have
healing?
That and I think even,
what is the case?
even if you're doing it recreationally, even if it's like you set your intention just to have fun, it's fine. Because setting intention is important, because that's what gives direction to your journey. It might not... You might not go exactly where you want to
have
go.
That plan in mind,
but it gives you an idea of what your map is, of where you want to, what direction you want to go in. Because, a psychedelic experience can be, quite challenging. And at least when you're in that moment, you can ground yourself either through your meditation or your breath work, or you ground yourself in your intention. It's like,
You just reminded me of I took... back in my youth, LSD a handful of times, and 2 of those times were seriously bad trips where it was just scary shit going on, and it would take you 2 weeks just to kind of feel normal again. Terrible experiences, and that's why I just cut it. I had, I think, 2 good experiences and 2 bad ones, and it was just done.
And
but scary, super, super scary shit going on, just freaking out,
And the problem with LSD is...
very bad.
And the problem with LSD is you're looking at a 12-hour trip. At least with mushrooms, you can go like 4 or 5 hours, and you're going to be out of it.
It's way more intense. Way more, by triple, I'd say.
No, definitely.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So it wouldn't be one of the things that I would say anyone should start with.
I would not recommend it to anybody, but I'm just, we're talking about bad times here, and those certainly were up there.
But must I tell you an interesting thing?
As far as bad times were concerned.
About LSD is the founder of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah.
He actually built the program out of LSD journeys, experiences. He actually did
the 12 steps.
The 12 steps. He actually did LSD, and out of those experiences, he built the 12 steps.
That's interesting.
Program.
And I don't know if you're aware, Betty, there's, we were talking about breathwork earlier on. Have you ever heard of holotropic breathwork?
Yes. So that can give you a psychedelic experience,
And it was actually designed by, I think...
Groff.
Stanley Groff. And it was about helping kind of drug addicts and people to... Is it yours? No, wait, Russell sorted it out.
I thought I put it on silent.
Don't worry, people.
Just sorry about that, Russell.
Busy right now.
Yeah, I mean, go away. So.
Is it on silent?
No, now it is.
Okay. Sorry about that, Russell.
Don't worry. This is just natural. It's all good. So Betty, it's about assisting people to go into these states and also work through their traumas. So I've done holotropic a couple of times. Russell's also done it, and it's also very powerful.
Yeah.
It can be powerful, and it also bring up emotions, etc. It's a very good, I think. What would you call it? Therapy as such.
What is the difference between like just breath work and holotropic breath work? What is it all just...
I think it's related, but it's not the same. I mean, the way the holotropic works with music, etc., is kind of unique in its in its way.
And also the breathing techniques in holotropic breath work, they're a lot more intense. So, like I say, there's a huge variety of ways that you can do breath work, whether you do Wim Hof or you do, the Stanley Groff holotropic.
But one thing I did like about it is that it did assist people to kind of turn inwards and for some stuff to. I remember the first time I did it was at, it was like at a hair salon in Boksburg or something. We don't even know who these people were. I went there with my family, my folks, and I just let out this roar, this like the lion came out of me.
That must have been amazing.
Yeah, and these acts were like, no, you had a good time. You had a good one. I was like, okay, that was a good one. Roar. But I think it can be powerful.
And I think it's also very somatic. There's a lot of body work that you do with
through that kind of thing.
Work,
because also that's important as well.
Yeah, you have a lot of release.
The body, once we're releasing all the stuff through the body becomes lighter, and that's when we start feeling better, etc. as well. You start feeling better in your life when you've lifted and shifted all that stuff.
No, definitely.
Is there anything else you want to tell us about?
So, gosh, what else did I want to talk about?
How do we get contact of you? Can people phone you, or is there a website? Or?
I think I'll leave my details with you, and then you can. So one of the topics I did want to talk about is madness and psychedelics.
Okay.
So in a lot of the research that they're doing, they screen people very rigorously. So they make sure that there's nobody with
bipolar or
mental
this and
illnesses
that.
like bipolar, schizophrenia, whatever. And even for myself, I mean, my psychiatrist has said, no, psychedelics are contraindicated, you can't do them. And I said, thank you for that. Because I do believe there is space for people with mental health challenges to do psychedelics. Obviously, you need to be transparent, and you need to, let people know what your situation is, what your diagnosis is. You're not going to go to a therapist and withhold information, and then things happen in a journey and he doesn't know or she doesn't know how to deal with it.
You need to be open,
so you
honest.
need to be open, you need to be transparent, you need to say, this is where I'm at, this is what I suffer from, whether it's bipolar, whatever. I do believe that everybody has a right to use psychedelics, whether you have perfect mental health, whether you have difficulty with your mental health. Maybe the people that we should be more concerned about are people with psychosis or schizophrenia, because psychedelics can always trigger an episode.
Yeah.
So I
wouldn't recommend.
So I wouldn't for myself recommend somebody that's suffering with psychosis or schizophrenia.
Well, we can't really recommend psychedelics at all.
Yeah. But we can't recommend it at all, generally.
But so you talk about madness. What are you talking about just now?
Yeah. So
tell us about that part.
So
what
when
does that
I talk about madness, I mean people that have mental health challenges.
Okay.
People
people becoming mad after taking it.
No. Okay. I mean, you do become mad after taking it. But what I'm saying is very often those people are excluded from psychedelics, whether it's people that do journeys with them, or whether it's studies or case studies or whatever. But I don't feel that people should be excluded. But like I say, in the same way, if you are going to choose to do psychedelics and you do have a mental health challenge or illness, you should always be honest, open, and transparent.
I was just thinking about. I saw some, documentary or something where people had cancer, people were dying, and they gave them psychedelics,
Yes.
as in mushrooms. And a lot of them, and I think they're obviously not spiritual people or religious to that extent, or they're people who are kind of non-believers as such. And it actually, it assisted a lot of those people that kind of opened them up to, like, I think a depth within them that they weren't aware of. And they were like, you know, maybe they were just more mentally driven and in fear of death, etc., and kind of opened up a little bit of inner space.
Psychedelics are being used for end-of-life people that are experiencing end-of-life, and particularly for anxiety and depression. Obviously, people that are reaching end-of-life have a lot of anxiety about dying, about, you know, things around death. So it helps a lot of people, particularly in terms of spirituality, gaining a different understanding, a different experience of spirituality.
Yeah.
Almost, you know, that feeling of oneness and sort of reconciling.
Kind of there's more to it than
reconciling
maybe what
themselves
they're
to
thinking.
something that's beyond their existence. So there's definitely a lot of work being done there with end of life.
It's a good thing. It's got to be. It's got to be a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
100%.
Anything that reduces a person's discomfort.
Yeah, or then that anxiety. I mean,
Yeah.
to death is obviously a fear that most people have.
It's very hard to live with, you know, to reach that point.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of benefits, you know, that the psychedelics have brought. But like I say, I mean, for me, my message is really, yes, there's some wonderful work being done, and there's you know, there's definitely a lot of healing that can be done using that medium. But we must be aware that there are those individuals that are going to have challenging experiences and that are going to need a lot more support than your average person.
So Karen, so Betty, so do you think as it becomes more mainstream and the medical society starts taking it on as a therapy, then maybe that'll come into place. But while it's still kind of, you know, underground, which it very much is underground, you're not going to have that kind of support.
Yeah, see that, and that is the unfortunate thing, and that's why we do need to look at legalization of psychedelics, if only
in a controlled environment.
Only because only so that it can be you know, monitored and regulated. I do believe that it needs to, and only certain people should be able to dispense psychedelics. You know, people that are trained. It doesn't necessarily have to be a psychiatrist or a registered psychologist, but I think people should have a basic training and a basic. I mean, there's so many people that do have a psychedelic experience. You know, you spoke about it, the overnight shaman, and then next day he's had this great revelation, or she's had this great revelation.
I've got a calling.
I've got a calling. I'm going to go feed everybody psychedelics now and save the world. And very often they do a lot more damage than they actually do good.
Right. Messiah complex.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Messiah complex.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, I had experience with, he was a psychiatrist. I mean, he knew very well what he was doing, but he still made that mistake of giving me 10 grams. And even the second person that I used, you know, I mean, we did some really good work together, but after I had my second mushroom journey, and it was equally traumatizing, and that's where it was real to me that I had been in this child sex ring, that I'd been trafficked.
So was that, when that sex ring thing, were you not aware of that up to that point?
No, I'd never been.
Oh.
It was totally like, I dissociated.
But your parents knew about it? I mean, they must have.
Yeah, they
just flipping they didn't want to tell you or hurt you in that sense, or what?
It's like, you know, there's a lot of children that experience that, and very much often at the hands of their own parents, as we see in Jocelyn's case.
So I mean, I don't know if you want to chat about it. I mean, this is quite deep personal stuff.
No.
But were you like kind of kidnapped or something, or?
No, it was in the...
Like in-house?
It was a family member that trafficked.
Oh.
Yeah. So they would take me from my house to where these people
would happen.
Would meet, and
Jeepers.
Yeah.
And that kind of
No wonder
stuff
you
goes on.
suppressed it, yeah.
I mean, how can you not suppress something like that? That would be...
Yeah. Well, I think.
And what
the
age
thing-
group was that? I mean, what were
So
you?
I was very little. It was, from what I recall, it was between the ages of 4 and 8.
Jeepers.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking, man.
I was still quite
I
small.
can't imagine that was, because I've got kids, jeepers. It's just something
So
beyond.
that's why, it's difficult to reconcile those kind of revelations, and I was really struggling with that. And, there again, I also asked this therapist to assist me, and especially that after the mushroom journey where I mean, it was totally like, did this really happen? And I was in a state of confusion. I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust anybody else. And he was basically like, okay, you've had this mushroom journey. Now go and live your best life, And
After
I'm like,
you've just opened up the biggest can of wounds you've
Exactly.
ever
And it's
flipped
like,
seen in your life. I mean, what an idiot.
so I don't know what happened
Jeepers.
there. It's still.
You should have been like, listen, you need further therapy, and this is who I recommend, or whatever the case may be, because he was obviously just not flipping qualified.
So it's still a mystery to me. And yeah, one of my things was exactly that. I mean, I understand it was very deep trauma, and not everybody is equipped to deal with that and to work with somebody like that. So then it should have been like, okay, I can't work with this. This is beyond my level of expertise. But
That's what he should have
suggest
actually
that
done.
you see
No
this
wonder you end
person
up in that state of
Yeah.
suicidal thoughts.
Yeah. So having said that, I mean, for me, a lot of, yes, my experiences were traumatic, but I think they were made more traumatic by the people that I actually worked with, for whatever reason. So, when somebody chooses to do a journey, I always say, do your due diligence, research that person, get references.
You're not
make
just
sure,
like, oh, let me look up this, I
Yeah.
found him on Instagram or whatever the case is.
One must be very careful and make sure, especially if you want to do therapeutic work.
It needs to be recommended.
Yeah.
Someone
And,
recommended.
even if you, like in my case, once this person had said, no, he's not prepared to work with me anymore for whatever reason, I sort of wandered around in the desert for a while, because you're in the state of confusion, and I had a lot of flashbacks as well. Like a lot of flashbacks were coming through, so it took me a while to sort of orientate myself. But fortunately, I was still in contact with my old therapist, and I went back to her, after that. And then I did a lot of integration with her. We still continue to do the integration because there's still, stuff that...
The stuff that's coming up.
But, so it's very important. I mean, even if you have somebody that sits the journey with you, that after the journey, even if you don't do your integration with that person, you don't have to do integration with that person, but know that you've got somebody that's going to support you, that's going to... do that integration with you.
It's essential, Betty. That
for
is so
however
essential.
long you need it. For however
could
long
be
you need it.
These little quick fixes. Oh no, we've got a WhatsApp group and we'll stay in touch for 2 months. What's that going to help you?
No.
You need more than that. It's
You
not
need
about that.
more,
You need someone to talk to. You need to
Look,
work through your stuff.
There are people, and the majority of people, Andrew, go through an experience like that, fine. They have their revelation, they have their oneness with the universe.
But there's that small percentage.
It's that small percentage, and it's not such a small percentage.
Maybe not that
I mean,
small.
there's different statistics, but I mean, one of the statistics is like 24% of people that have a psychedelic.
So it's not such a small percentage. It's quite a large percentage.
And now you must think about all these people that are going to Peru and Colombia and Portugal, which is also decriminalized psychedelics.
Yeah.
And wherever they're going, and they're coming back home traumatized because, and who's there? Who's there for them? There's nobody there for them. Yeah.
Carry on with your life, but you got all this stuff that's been opened up now. It's not that simple.
So you really need to, as much as you need to prepare for the journey, important part of the journey is your preparation. But in your preparation, you need to set up your support network. Which friend are you going to phone, when you're having a bad time or you're having a flashback from your psychedelic experience? Do you have a therapist that you're going to see regularly? Do you have a psychiatrist? If you need a psychiatrist, maybe you need to be medicated, for a while.
There's a lot
afterwards.
of factors.
So you really need to, part of your preparation is to prepare for afterwards. Like, what is your support network going to be?
But they're not going to tell you that. You're just going to go and do it. So there needs to be some kind of organization. I don't know what these guys are involved in that you're talking about around the world, where someone can go onto perhaps their website and say, listen, there's a list of people, even if they're not within your country, maybe you can talk to someone on Zoom that can assist you. That's, there needs to be some kind of a society of sorts for people to look at.
And that's why I say,
and to know about.
We need to decriminalize psychedelics because they need to be regulated. They're powerful drugs. It's a powerful drug.
You're right. Once it's decriminalized, can it be regulated?
Even somebody who has a psychotic break during a psychedelic experience is not going to go to the ER, to the emergency room to be treated because they know it's like, why did you take it? What did you do?
What did you take it? Where did you get it from?
And then it's a whole big story.
Yeah.
So as soon as we have it legalized, like we have, weed is a far more dangerous drug than psychedelics. So if we can decriminalize weed, we definitely have to decriminalize psychedelics so that we can regulate the industry. Because at the moment, I think, a lot of people are being hurt.
Yeah.
And only through ignorance. It's not, I always say the medicine is not the problem. That's not, the medicine does what it has to do,
It's the way we...
It's the way it's facilitated and the way that you integrate it.
You need those tools to learn to
You need
to,
when
you get triggered, what do I do now?
Yeah.
And,
those, so you...
so on.
But
it's still early days, I think, Betty. It's early days.
Yeah, it's still very early days.
Yeah.
I know the lawyers, the same lawyers, the firm, they actually worked on decriminalizing weed.
Yeah.
They're working on
Are they?
On psychedelics
Psilocybin,
as well.
etc.
Psilocybin, So, and very much on the same principle, it being our constitutional right to take mind-altering substances. And of course, why can't we? It's our own mind.
Why not? Tequila. But Betty, it's been interesting. Thank you for coming on, and thank you for sharing your story. It was some traumatic stuff there,
but it's powerful.
It's powerful.
From there to help. Now you're helping people.
Yeah. So there's a gift in it. There's a gift in what you've gone through. Well, certainly through your bad trip, etc.
Yeah. Look, I think for me, it's just I find that in sharing my story, I can help other people.
100%, and that's what it's about, isn't it? That is what it's about. Yeah.
So
you're doing good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Betty. And sorry.
Yeah, I'll send you some links.
Yeah, it's and stuff, or even information about groups that people can contact or whatever internationally.
So,
or
like I say, at the moment, I'm only aware of international groups. Maybe I'll start a local one for, local support group.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Why not?
But the groups that I and the organizations that I've contacted and I've spoken to have all been international.
Yeah.
But it's not a problem because, like I say, the world is interconnected now. So. Yeah.
Exactly, you can just Zoom someone, whatever the case is.
Yeah, and people, mushroom people are very helpful and very willing to help.
The Shroom Brigade.
Yeah.
Betty, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Give us a cheers. You're a blessing. Thank you for doing your good work.
Thank you.
Russell,
cheers.
like and subscribe.